Have you ever felt like your kids don't call or visit as often as they used to? Do you sometimes wonder if they still love and respect you the way they once did? The truth is, many seniors unknowingly push their children away without realizing it. It's not about being a bad parent or making huge mistakes. It's about small habits and behaviors that slowly erode relationships over time. In this video, we're going to reveal 7 hidden reasons why your children may be pulling away from you. These aren't just minor misunderstandings. They are powerful, relationship-damaging mistakes that can make your kids feel distant, resentful, or even uninterested in maintaining regular contact. The good news? Once you recognize these mistakes, you can start making small changes that will rebuild your connection, strengthen your bond, and bring back the love and closeness you once had. But the key is to act now, before the distance becomes permanent. As we go through the list, ask yourself honestly, have I been doing any of these things without realizing it? And before we dive in, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss more insights on building strong, healthy relationships and staying connected with your loved ones. One of the biggest reasons your children may be pulling away from you without saying a word is constant complaining. You may not even realize it's happening, but if most of your conversations are focused on what's wrong, what hurts, or how much better things used to be, your kids may start feeling drained rather than uplifted when they talk to you. Over time, this can make them avoid long conversations, shorten visits, and eventually stop reaching out as often. Nobody likes to feel overwhelmed with negativity. When every phone call or visit turns into a list of complaints about health issues, family problems, or how bad the world has become, your kids may feel helpless or frustrated. They might love you deeply, but if every interaction leaves them feeling emotionally exhausted, they'll start to distance themselves without even realizing it. It's completely understandable to want to share your struggles. After all, your children are some of the closest people in your life. But the problem arises when complaints become the dominant theme of your conversations. When the focus is always on problems, the relationship starts feeling like a burden rather than a source of connection and joy. Another common mistake is dwelling too much on the past. Talking about old memories is wonderful, but constantly bringing up how things were better back then, or comparing today's world to the past in a negative way, can make your kids feel like they'll never meet your expectations. They may feel guilty for not being able to give you the life you once had, or they might simply feel like you don't appreciate the present moment with them. So how can you change this pattern and rebuild a positive, meaningful relationship with your children? The first step is awareness. Start noticing how often your conversations focus on problems rather than positive topics. Are you sharing moments of joy, curiosity, or appreciation? Or are you mainly discussing aches, frustrations, and regrets? A simple way to shift the dynamic is by asking more about your children's lives, instead of just talking about your own struggles. Show genuine interest in what they're doing, what excites them, and what they're passionate about. Another helpful strategy is to practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, try mentioning things you're grateful for. Whether it's a good meal you had, a beautiful sunset, or simply the fact that you get to talk to your child. Positivity is contagious, and when your kids see that conversations with you lift their spirits rather than weigh them down, they'll naturally want to spend more time with you. If you truly need to vent, try balancing it with a positive note. For example, instead of saying, "I'm in pain all the time and I can't do anything anymore," try saying, "I've been having some pain, but I found a new way to manage it, and I'm working on staying active." This shift shows resilience rather than helplessness, which makes conversations more engaging and uplifting. At the end of the day, your children want to feel good when they talk to you. They want to laugh, share stories, and feel connected. If you can start replacing complaints with curiosity, gratitude, and encouragement, you'll notice a significant difference in how often your kids reach out, how long they stay on the phone, and how eager they are to spend time with you. Have you ever noticed your kids withdrawing during conversations? Let me know in the comments. One of the biggest reasons your children may be pulling away from you is feeling like you're trying to control their lives. Even if your intentions come from a place of love, too much advice, unsolicited opinions, or pressure to do things your way can make them feel frustrated, suffocated, or even resentful. Nobody likes to feel like they're being judged or that their decisions are never good enough. If your kids feel like every interaction with you turns into a lesson, a correction, or a reminder of what they should be doing, they may start limiting how often they call or visit. It's natural to want the best for your children, even when they're adults. You may feel like you have more experience, more wisdom, and that if they just listened to you, their lives would be easier. But the truth is, they need to make their own decisions, even if that means making mistakes. Giving them the freedom to live their lives without feeling constantly corrected or guided will strengthen your relationship rather than weaken it. Many parents don't even realize they're being controlling. It might come in the form of subtle criticism, repeated reminders, or unasked for advice. You may think you're just being helpful, but to them, it may feel like you don't trust them to manage their own lives. When a child, no matter their age, feels like they're constantly being told what to do, they may start distancing themselves to protect their independence. One of the most common ways this happens is through parental guilt tripping. Saying things like, "You never call me anymore. I guess I'm not important to you." Or, "If you really cared, you'd visit more often," may seem like an honest expression of your feelings, but to your children, it feels like emotional manipulation. Instead of making them want to spend more time with you, it can actually push them further away. So how do you maintain a close, healthy relationship without making your children feel controlled? The key is letting go, while still showing love and support. Accept that they are adults, and even if they make choices you wouldn't, it's their life to live. Instead of offering advice unless they ask for it, focus on being a source of encouragement. Rather than saying, "You should do this differently," try saying, "I trust that you'll make the best decision for yourself." This small change in wording gives them confidence and makes them feel respected. Another way to strengthen your bond is by showing interest in their lives without judgment. Ask about their work, their hobbies, their kids, and their interests, not as a way to offer advice, but as a way to genuinely connect with them. Show excitement for their successes instead of pointing out what they could have done better. If they feel like they can talk to you without fear of being criticized or corrected, they'll naturally want to reach out to you more. Respecting their boundaries is also essential. If they say they're busy, don't take it personally. If they don't follow the path you wanted for them, support them anyway. When your kids feel like they can talk to you freely without pressure or expectations, they'll be more likely to keep you involved in their lives. Letting go isn't easy, but it's necessary. The more you respect their independence, the closer they'll want to stay to you. You don't need to agree with every decision they make. You just need to be there for them in a way that makes them feel safe, respected, and loved. If you're enjoying this video and want more insights on how to strengthen relationships and build deeper connections with your loved ones, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button. It really helps support the channel, and you'll never miss our future tips on staying connected, strong, and emotionally healthy. Now, let's move on to another big mistake that might be pushing your children away: criticizing their life choices. One of the fastest ways to create emotional distance between you and your children is constantly criticizing their life choices. Even if you believe you're only trying to help, frequent disapproval, whether about their career, parenting style, finances, or relationships, can make them feel judged, unappreciated, and eventually unwilling to share details of their lives with you. Over time, they may start calling less, visiting less, and avoiding deeper conversations just to escape the criticism. As parents, it's natural to want what's best for your children. You might see them making mistakes or handling things in ways that seem unwise, and your instinct is to correct them, guide them, or steer them in a direction you think is better. The problem is, once your children become adults, they need to feel like they are in control of their own lives. If every interaction includes reminders of what they should be doing, they may start feeling like nothing they do is ever good enough. Criticism doesn't always come in the form of direct, harsh words. Sometimes it's subtle, a disappointed look, a comment that sounds innocent but carries judgment, or a comparison to someone else who made better choices. Saying things like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" or "I would never have done it that way," might seem like small remarks, but they can make your children feel like their decisions are constantly under scrutiny. Even well-meaning advice can feel like criticism if it's given too often or without being asked for. If you've noticed that your kids don't share much about their lives with you anymore, ask yourself whether criticism has played a role. Do they hesitate to tell you about their new job, their parenting style, or their financial decisions? Do they seem defensive or change the subject when you give your opinion? These might be signs that they've learned to protect themselves from disapproval by keeping their distance. The key to maintaining a close relationship with your children is acceptance and respect for their independence. Even if you don't agree with their choices, showing support instead of judgment will bring you closer instead of pushing them away. Instead of offering criticism, try asking questions that show curiosity rather than disapproval. Rather than saying, "That's not how I would do it," try, "That's interesting. What made you decide to do it this way?" This kind of approach opens the door to meaningful conversations rather than shutting them down. Another powerful way to strengthen your bond is giving encouragement instead of correction. Let your children know that you trust them to make their own decisions. Even if they make mistakes, they will appreciate knowing that you are in their corner, supporting them rather than judging them. If they ask for advice, give it in a way that respects their autonomy. Something like, "I've had experience with that, and if you're interested, I can share what worked for me." Rather than, "You should really do it this way." One of the best things you can do to repair a strained relationship is letting go of past criticisms and making an effort to be more positive moving forward. If you've had disagreements in the past, acknowledging them and making a change can be incredibly powerful. Saying something like, "I realize I've been too critical in the past, and I want to focus on supporting you more," can make a huge difference in how your children perceive your relationship. At the end of the day, your children don't need you to agree with every choice they make. They just need to know that they are loved, accepted, and supported. The more they feel comfortable being themselves around you, the more they will want to spend time with you. Do you think criticism has affected your relationship with your kids? Comment below and let's talk about it. One of the most damaging but often unseen reasons why your children may be pulling away from you is not respecting their boundaries. Many parents, even with the best intentions, unknowingly cross emotional, physical, or personal boundaries, making their children feel uncomfortable, frustrated, or even resentful. Over time, this can lead to emotional withdrawal, avoidance, and a breakdown in communication. As a parent, you may feel like you've earned the right to be involved in every part of your child's life. After all, you raised them, supported them, and want the best for them. But as children grow into adults, they develop their own sense of identity, independence, and personal space. When those boundaries aren't respected, they start to see interactions with you as stressful rather than comforting. Ignoring boundaries doesn't always mean doing something extreme. Sometimes, it's small things that add up over time. It might be calling them too often, showing up unannounced, asking overly personal questions, or giving advice they didn't ask for. Even seemingly harmless habits, like correcting their parenting style, questioning their financial decisions, or making critical comments about their home, partner, or job, can make them feel like you're overstepping. Another common boundary issue is bringing up past mistakes or unresolved conflicts when they're trying to move forward. Holding on to old grievances or constantly reminding them of things they did wrong can make them feel judged and unable to be themselves around you. Instead of encouraging a healthy relationship, it creates distance and discomfort. Respecting your children's boundaries doesn't mean cutting off closeness. It means strengthening trust. When they feel that you respect their space, their choices, and their independence, they will naturally want to be closer to you. Instead of pushing for more contact, try letting them initiate conversations and visits. Give them the freedom to set the pace of the relationship, and they will be more likely to reach out. If you've noticed that your children have been withdrawing from you, take a step back and evaluate whether their boundaries have been unintentionally ignored. Ask yourself, do I allow them to have their own lives without interference? Do I respect their decisions even if I don't agree with them? Do I give them space to reach out to me instead of always initiating contact? If the answer to any of these is no, then small changes in how you communicate and engage with them can completely transform your relationship. A simple but powerful way to rebuild trust is to ask them directly how they feel. A statement like, "I want to make sure I'm respecting your space. Let me know if there's anything I do that bothers you," shows that you care about their comfort and are open to adjusting your approach. Giving them permission to express their feelings without fear of judgment can open the door to deeper, more meaningful conversations. When your children feel emotionally safe and respected around you, they will naturally want to spend more time with you. Boundaries don't push people away. They make relationships stronger. If you can show that you trust them to live their lives on their terms, they will trust you more in return. If you're enjoying this video and want more insights on how to strengthen relationships and build deeper connections with your loved ones, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button. It really helps support the channel, and you'll never miss our future tips on staying connected, strong, and emotionally healthy. One of the biggest reasons your children may not enjoy conversations with you as much as they used to is if every discussion revolves around you, your experiences, and your struggles. While it's natural to want to share your thoughts, feelings, and memories, making every conversation one-sided can leave your children feeling unheard, unappreciated, and even disconnected from you. Over time, this can lead them to shorten phone calls, visit less often, or avoid deep conversations altogether. Many parents unintentionally dominate conversations by constantly talking about their own experiences, their childhood, their health issues, their frustrations, or their past achievements. While sharing stories can be meaningful, if every discussion turns into a monologue rather than a dialogue, your children may start feeling like they're just an audience rather than an equal part of the conversation. One of the most frustrating experiences for anyone, regardless of age, is feeling like they're not being listened to. If your children feel like their thoughts, experiences, and challenges aren't valued in the conversation, they may stop opening up altogether. They might love you deeply, but if every conversation is about your problems or opinions, they may feel like their own lives don't matter as much to you. Active listening is the key to making conversations more engaging. Instead of immediately shifting the focus back to yourself after they share something, ask follow-up questions, express curiosity, and show genuine interest in their lives. Instead of saying, "Oh, that reminds me of when I," try responding with, "That's really interesting. Tell me more about it." Or, "How did that make you feel?" Small changes like these make a huge difference in making your children feel heard and valued. Another important habit to develop is giving space for silence. Some people tend to fill every pause with their own stories or advice, which can make conversations feel rushed or overwhelming. Sometimes, your child just needs time to process their thoughts. And allowing those quiet moments shows that you respect their voice in the conversation. If you've noticed that your children don't share much about their personal lives with you anymore, it may be because they feel like their opinions or feelings won't get the same attention as yours. To rebuild trust and connection, try shifting the focus. Ask about their career, their interests, their challenges, and really listen to their responses. If they feel like they can talk to you without being interrupted or overshadowed, they'll naturally want to reach out more. Balancing conversations is key. It's great to share your life, your wisdom, and your memories, but make sure that there's space for your children to share theirs too. The best relationships are built on mutual respect, where both sides feel valued and heard. When you show that you're truly interested in their lives, not just as an observer, but as someone who deeply cares, you create a bond that will keep them coming back to you again and again. How do you keep conversations engaging with your kids? Share your experience in the comments. Holding on to past resentments is one of the most destructive mistakes that can silently damage your relationship with your children. Old conflicts, unresolved arguments, and lingering disappointments can create an invisible wall between you and them, even if no one talks about it directly. Over time, this emotional barrier can make communication feel forced, visits feel tense, and phone calls become shorter or less frequent. Many parents don't realize that the past still influences the present. Maybe there were disagreements about career choices, parenting decisions, or financial matters. Perhaps there were misunderstandings that were never fully addressed, or moments of hurt that were left unspoken. If these feelings remain buried but unresolved, they continue to impact your relationship. Even if you don't bring them up directly, your tone, your body language, and your responses may still carry traces of frustration, disappointment, or judgment. The problem with holding on to resentment is that it keeps both you and your children stuck in the past, unable to truly enjoy the present. Every time they interact with you, they might feel like they have to defend themselves or prove something to you. Instead of feeling warmth and connection, they feel pressure or emotional exhaustion. Over time, they may withdraw emotionally, not because they don't love you, but because they don't want to be reminded of past conflicts or disappointments. Forgiveness is the key to breaking this cycle and rebuilding a healthier relationship. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the past never happened, and it doesn't mean ignoring your own feelings. It means letting go of the need to be right and choosing to move forward with love instead of resentment. It means accepting that everyone makes mistakes, including you and your children, and that holding on to grudges only creates more distance. One of the most powerful ways to start healing is through honest but gentle communication. If there have been tensions in the past, consider saying something like, "I know we've had disagreements before, but I don't want them to stand between us anymore. You're important to me, and I want us to move forward." A simple acknowledgement like this can open the door for healing without placing blame or reigniting old arguments. Another way to let go of resentment is to focus on the present and the future, rather than the past. Instead of replaying old conflicts in your mind, shift your focus to building positive new memories with your children. Find moments of connection, no matter how small, a conversation about their interests, a shared meal, or even just a kind message. These little efforts can gradually replace past tension with a renewed sense of closeness. Even if your child was the one who hurt you in the past, remember that time changes people. They may no longer be the same person they were years ago, and by holding on to resentment, you might be punishing them for something they've already outgrown. Giving them the chance to reconnect without the weight of old mistakes allows your relationship to evolve in a healthier direction. Letting go of resentment isn't just about improving your relationship with your children. It's also about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of carrying past pain. Forgiveness is a gift you give not only to others, but also to yourself. When you release the past, you make space for deeper, more meaningful connections in the present. If you truly want to restore the love and warmth in your relationship with your children, start by letting go of what no longer serves you. Replace judgment with understanding. Replace grudges with compassion, and replace distance with openness. The more you focus on moving forward, the more your children will feel safe to reconnect with you without fear of past wounds being reopened. If you're enjoying this video and want more insights on how to strengthen relationships and build deeper connections with your loved ones, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button. It really helps support the channel, and you'll never miss our future tips on staying emotionally healthy and maintaining strong family bonds. Rebuilding love and connection with your children starts with recognizing the patterns that may have created emotional distance and making a conscious effort to change them. The mistakes we've discussed, whether it's complaining too much, being overly controlling, criticizing their choices, not respecting their boundaries, making conversations one-sided, or holding on to past resentments, are things many parents do without realizing the impact they have. The good news is that relationships can be healed, and even the smallest efforts can make a big difference in how your children feel about you. The first step is self-awareness. Take a moment to reflect on your interactions with your children. Are you truly listening to them? Or are you more focused on giving advice? Do you respect their independence? Or do you still try to influence their decisions? Do they feel comfortable opening up to you? Or do they hold back to avoid judgment? Recognizing these patterns is the key to breaking them. Next, shift the way you communicate. Instead of leading conversations with problems, focus on positivity and curiosity. Ask about their lives, their passions, and what excites them. Show them that you value who they are today, not just who they were when they were children. When they speak, truly listen, without interrupting, without offering solutions unless asked, and without making it about yourself. Sometimes people just want to feel heard. Letting go of the past is another important part of healing relationships. If there have been conflicts or misunderstandings, consider letting go of the need to be right. Holding on to old grudges only creates distance, while forgiveness opens the door to a new chapter. Even if your child was the one who hurt you in the past, giving them space to grow and change without holding on to resentment can transform your relationship. Respecting boundaries is also essential. Give them space when they need it, but also show that you're always there for them when they reach out. If they ask for advice, offer it with care, not as a demand. If they set limits on how often they visit or call, respect those limits without guilt-tripping them. The more they feel that they have control over their interactions with you, the more they will want to engage. Even small changes in how you approach your relationship with your children can completely shift the dynamic. A kind message, an unexpected compliment, or a genuine "I'm proud of you" can go a long way. If you haven't heard from them in a while, instead of saying "you never call me anymore," try saying "I was thinking about you today and just wanted to check in." Little changes like this remove pressure from the relationship and make interactions feel warm rather than forced. At the core of every strong parent-child relationship is acceptance. Your children don't need you to agree with everything they do. They just need to feel that you love and support them no matter what. When they know that they can come to you without fear of judgment, criticism, or control, they will naturally want to be closer to you. Love is never lost. It just sometimes gets buried under misunderstandings, old habits, and unspoken emotions. But it's always possible to rebuild, reconnect, and strengthen the bond you share. The effort you make today can change the way your children see you for the rest of your life. Choose patience, choose understanding, and most of all, choose love.